Welcome to another video, ladies and gentlemen. So the purpose of this video is to put a few things I may have alluded to in my video concerning the statue that was erected on top of the New York City courthouse here in New York. I felt that I probably did not give proper context about the things that I know, the research that I've done. And I wanted to show people that, the information is out there. If you're willing to do the research, or if you're interested, of course, people could always drop me a message and say, hey, have you looked into this? Could you drop something more comprehensive? I basically do it just for the sake of brevity. Give you, bursts, so hopefully you could share it with someone. It won't be too long, and it will be something that they'll look at. I understand that, in our modern day, people don't have a lot of time. People have short attention spans. People are generally two-dimensional thinkers. Everything is just surface level, and that's okay. But for those of you that want to know more, those of you that want proof, things of that nature, this video will be perfect for you. So, before we jump in, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the content, and of course, share it with everyone you know. Never know, you might learn something. Let's go.
All hail to the guardians of the Eastern Watchtower.
And I'm the High Priestess.
Blessed be the ancestors.
To be a witch is incredibly relevant in today's society.
I cast the circle hand to hand.
We kind of work a magic.
Now let's start with this figure right here to the left of your screen. That figure is the woodland god or the horn god. That is the figure that people who practice Wicca, that is the figure that they worship, or at least one of them. That figure is called Pan. Now Pan is the Greek name. It's half man, half goat. It's also known as Cernunnos. That's the British version. Half man, half stag. You can see this entity has horns with antlers, right? So that's like a deer or a stag, and has the cloven hooves. This is the woodland god. You can see there's little creatures at its feet. They even have a red dragon over here. Who's known as the red dragon? Right? These things are very easy to understand when you know what you're looking at. You can also see this figure has one hand facing up, one hand facing down. So who is that? That is also what is known as the Baphomet. That's the modern version, right? Or the modern manifestation of the same God. So you're going to see a recurring theme here. It's going to be the same story, different renditions, right? Different manifestations of these same entities that just go by different names, right? Cush was the creator of the Babylonian mystery schools. Peter Pan is a modern iteration of Pan. Even E.T., allusions to Pan, right? That's where the witchcraft comes in regarding E.T. These things are known, right? There's people that know them. The people that practice them right now, they may or may not know, depending on their level. I cannot be sure because I don't know anybody that practices witchcraft. It's not my thing. So how deep they're in, I cannot tell you, right? But there are people in the higher levels, they know exactly what this is. They're aware.
Magic together.
Nestled in the heart of the Hudson Valley is the Church of the Eternal Circle.
My plans purify you.
The only legally recognized Wiccan church in the state of New York.
Osiris.
We kind of follow the tradition of the craft of the.
Did you hear that? Osiris. Now who is Osiris? Osiris or Osar, right, is Nimrod. And who's Nimrod? Nimrod is the son of Cush. So even if you saw this little bronze statuette that they had with the antlers, right, and the cloven hooves, they're chanting Osiris. Osiris is the god of the dead, as we all know, right? Also the god of rebirth and fertility, allegedly. That's what he's supposed to represent. But that's really Nimrod, right? The one who is called a mighty hunter before the Lord. Right? People always say, when you bring up Osiris, oh, it's from ancient Kemet, etc., but you can plainly see they had that figure behind them, yet they're chanting Osiris. So apparently they know. See, that's what I'm saying. Probably not everybody knows, but there's some people that definitely know. It's a modern iteration of the same deity. And that pentagram that you see behind her, that is for the moon goddess. That's Hecate, right? That represents the mother goddess. Now, the moon goddess, same thing. You have different versions of her. She could be Cybele. She could be Artemis, which is the goddess of the hunt and, the forest as well. Same story, right? Different names.
The wise. We are witches.
Where for the very first time, members invited CBS2 to attend their services.
My thoughts can hear.
Look at these people, man. They look a hot mess. All of them look overweight, like they need to hit the gym, but they're in there sitting down practicing witchcraft. Listen, man, to each their own. You know what I mean? That's what they want to do. I don't have a heaven or hell to put them in, but I know for a fact that the Most High said you shouldn't practice witchcraft. Now, as you can see, they have on their little altar here. This is the sun god or the woodland god or whichever modern manifestation that they attribute to it under whichever name, but you heard them chanting Osiris for short. But this is also Pan, Cernunnos, right? Osiris, you heard them say it, and this is the mother goddess, which would be Hecate, Artemis, also Selene, and you can see there's a white horse in the back. So in that version, Selene is pictured sitting side saddle on that white horse. So I suspect the high priestess, she probably knows about these things. Right? There's certain people that are in the know, and based on the things they have around them, you can tell whether they actually know or not. Right? But these things require research, right? You're not just going to know these things just like that. But that's the mother goddess, and this is the father god, or sun god, moon god, right? This could also be Apollo. Different names, same story, man.
Lisa Stewart and her husband Anton are the founders of the church.
There are definitely more of us than you think.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that twice. I am well aware. Now, this video is actually from 2018, and you will see the numbers for yourself. We're in 2023 now, at the end of January. I can only assume that that number has risen considerably, considering all the confusion that I've seen online. Confusion about gender, confusion concerning politics, the war, all these things. All right, we're in bad shape, and this is one of the reasons. Regardless of what they say, when you veer that far away from the teachings of the Most High and the people that He gave the law, they're bound to be chaotic. Let's just put it that way. Now you can see this figure here for yourself. One hand is raised up, the other one is pointing downwards. This figure also has the serpent around that left hand pointing downward. Now the left hand usually represents the left hand path, right? That's dark magic. This god could go under so many names. I am literally not joking. It is funny. Like it could go. This can also be Saturn, right? So Saturnians, Luciferians, people that practice witchcraft, it is all the same thing. There's different manifestations of it. You look at a statue of Baphomet, this will be very reminiscent of it. You see the hand pointing up, hand pointing down. You'll see the cloven hooves, right? But this is just called Pan, and he has, the thick beard and the antlers.
Estimated as many as 1 million people identify as being a witch in the U.S., with 20% of that population to be in New York.
Now you hear that shit? 1 million people, and this was in 2018. 20% of them, that means 200,000, right here in New York. Right? So what's the population of the U.S. now? 370, 380? 1 in every 370 to 80 people you meet is going to be an out-and-out practicing witch. Whether they will tell you or not, I don't know. Maybe they might not. Now, what about those that practice and don't tell anybody? This is why you have to be so careful about who you share your bed with, who you let into your house, let around your children, let into your circle. You never know what they might be up to, right? Especially you brothers out there. Y'all be running around with all these different chicks. You drop her, and next thing you know, you wake up, looking like Pan. You know what I'm saying? Be careful who you associate with. That's why I keep my circle extremely small, extremely tight. Right? I do not let people in like that. But this is one of the reasons, because I know my beliefs and other people's beliefs might not align. And as the scriptures say, can two walk together unless they be agreed? Right? I know people are going to disagree sometimes. We're going to have our differences, but there are basic foundational beliefs that you need to have together in order for you to, share that bond, right? That basic foundation will be determinant of a lot of the things that you discuss, how you see life, how you deal with your family, things of that sort, right? So please take that into consideration.
We have people who are professionals of all kinds,
including a librarian.
I'm pretty sure there's people of all kinds. Right? This is something I have alluded to previously, I believe, and if I have not, well, the fault is on me for that. But there are people of all walks of life practicing witchcraft, Satanism. I'm pretty sure I talked about it. I think I had mentioned in the Devil Made Me Do It series, right? How there could be people in the military, right? Congress, House of Representatives, CEOs, doctors, lawyers. All these people are involved in Satanism, right? If you look up famous people from the past, right? Now people don't really say it. They try to joke about it when they go to the Oscars. Idiots like Christian Bale, hell Satan, right? Trying to be facetious about it, but in reality, the energy that runs that industry is satanic. Right? We know that for a fact. Too many young people have come out of that industry and said, horrible things were done to them. Right? Drugs, sex, all kinds of things that they should not have been exposed to from a very young age. So we know that's a fact. Right? So the very elites to the regular, everyday people, that if they get into some sort of thing, the sheriff will be able to let them off because they have allegiance to the craft. Right? And that little figure that you saw, that is their God.
A computer scientist, a nurse, and a homemaker.
Very normal people are part of it.
Very normal people. I don't think very normal people are a part of it. People that could probably act normal, but okay. This guy's a physician. So imagine you go to your physician, you go for a blood test. You don't know what that guy's doing with that blood. Right? Because you don't know who's involved. They're not going to tell you. But like I said, be aware. Right? Be aware of who you associate with. You might not have control over, the facilities that you go to, things of that nature, but be aware. It is out there. And the fact that they have come out with it is, is good. I think it's good for people to know. Good for people to know that there are many practicing witches out there. They'll make it seem like, they don't practice black magic. Listen, you're not supposed to practice magic, period. Period.
With this religion.
In addition to practicing witchcraft, Dr. Davis Sprague, a former Methodist, is a practitioner of internal medicine.
Now, imagine this. This guy spent, 7 years of his life going to school to become a doctor, and he's practicing witchcraft, right? A man that spends 7 years of his life is practicing witchcraft. So how seriously can you take these people's opinions when they talk about science and this man is over here practicing witchcraft? Oh yeah, trust the science, believe the science. Meanwhile, you're here practicing witchcraft. All right, Doc. Yeah, miss me with that.
Joe Ladotti, a sculptor converted from Catholicism.
Peep this guy right here. He actually has the green cloak on, and he's doing the Manu Cornuto sign. All right, when you see people throwing this up, they know what this means. Right? This is the Manu Cornuto. And he has his hands crossed like Osiris. You heard them chanting Osiris, who is the god of the dead. That's who they're calling on. And he actually has the green cloak, which is the color that you usually see Osiris in. And even for Pan, right? Because Pan is the woodland god, the forest god. So he has a green cloak on.
I'll keep an open mind.
Unlike its pop culture portrayal, members say witchcraft is actually grounded in love and spirituality. The stereotype, of course, is the broom of...
It's for sweeping your circle and clearing the energy.
Not for flying?
Not for flying.
This is a somber celebration marking the start.
Look at these grown folks dancing in a circle. All these people look like they're in their 50s or something, but they practicing witches, man, I tell you what. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of younger people that's practicing it too, that won't tell anybody about it. Believe that.
Part of winter. In the Wiccan Church, Samhain is known as the Night of Souls, when witches honor their ancestors.
Now, Samhain or Samhain is what we call Halloween, which is why anybody who believes in the scriptures, you have no business taking part in Halloween. Right? That is one of the witches' high holy days. Right? But like I said, there are certain things that you'll see that people will do that will let you know that they're involved with witchcraft. Right? One of the first people that came out with that and the fact about the entertainment industry was John Todd many years ago. Right? If you see a person wearing something such as the Wheel of the Year, right? It has 8 points. 8-pointed star, right? You see them dressed in all black, and they have this, and they also celebrate these high holy days, then you know that person is involved in witchcraft, right? They celebrate things like May Day, Easter, Samhain, and there's like a few others, but it's 8 of them. They have 8 high holy days. I can't recall all of them right now, but the Wheel of the Year is one of their witchcraft symbols.
And magic is simply the belief you can make anything happen.
It's kind of like a prayer.
There's no devil worship, only a love for the goddess of creation.
Now that is Hecate, or the moon goddess, right? Also could be Cybele, right? Just a different name, which would be the consort of Attis. Now, Attis was the male to this female. That's Attis. There were a set of people called the priests of Attis. They were called the Galli, the Galli. Let me tell you what the Galli did, and you tell me what it reminds you of. The Galli castrated themselves and proceeded to dress in women's clothes. Now, what does that remind you of? Men who castrated themselves and then dressed in women's clothes. And they were a cult to this goddess. Right? Now, this goddess can be any one of them that you know. Right? It could be Diana. And that's why Wonder Woman is just a different iteration of this goddess. Right? You see, in the Wonder Woman movies, she has powers, so-called powers. Right? She is a superhuman. She came from the gods. Right? So what is her name? Diana. That's why she's named Diana. It's after the old gods. They call Diana Prince. This can also be Cybele, as I said, or it can be Artemis, right, the goddess of the hunt, or Hecate, right, the moon goddess, or even Selene, right? Selene is also pictured exactly like this. She's usually pictured on a white horse sitting side saddle. So all these different names, different manifestations, it's of the same entities, man. This is the story being retold and retold.
And inspiration, along with the antlered god of all things wild and free.
The antlered god of all things wild and free. That is a dead giveaway right there. Who is the antlered god of all things wild and free? Well, the antlered god of all things wild and free is the Bacchus, the god of wine and revelry and drunkenness, right? The god of Bacchanal, right? Now, let's remember that Pan, which is also the name for this creature, was also the god of man-boy love, right? The god of pederasty, in ancient Greek. That's why a lot of people that venerated him are called pansexuals. Anybody that refers to them as a pansexual is, they're practicing witchcraft. That's just what it comes down to, honestly.
Wild and free.
When I tell people that I am a witch, I'm met sometimes with abject horror.
But this is based on old myths these modern-day witches now want to dispel.
It really is a beautiful way of life.
Bring forth your elemental power.
Osiris.
There you go again, Osiris, right? They're calling on the god of the dead. Now that is from the ancient Babylonian mystery schools, right? We know that for a fact because we know about Osiris or Osar, right? But that same entity that they're calling on, that is also Nimrod. People have conflated and said, oh, well, there's a difference. They're using the Christ figure. No, that's not what it is. It has nothing to do with that. Osiris they're referring to is Nimrod. I mean, even the way they pull the wool over your eyes is by using different names to different entities and then getting you to have some sort of confidence in them or belief in them. Even the Star Wars movie is a depiction of dark and white magic. That's how deep these things go. And people that write these scripts and produce these movies, they know exactly what they're doing. That's why it's called the Force. The Force they're talking about is witchcraft, is magic. And those lightsabers are their wands, right? These things are very metaphoric in the way that they bring them about. Even Uncle Sam, right? Uncle Sam is well known for that long goatee of his, but Uncle Sam is the reason why he says Uncle Sam wants you. That's an allusion to Samael, right? Just a different version of the same God, right? That's why you have all these statues all over the place of the women holding the light, right? You had the bull statue down in Manhattan, that's Baal, right? And we know for a fact that all these old gods, they require sacrifice. That is a fact. I know a lot of people that, hear about these things, they might not like that, but that's just what it is.
Now, with a strong belief in what goes around comes around, we can say that there's never a need for black magic.
Well, that's what they say, but they might say that, but, reality is different, right? We know that people disappear, children disappear, they're never found. People get, taken out in various ways that are very reminiscent of satanic ritual abuse and sacrifice. So, You have to put these things in perspective. Don't let the news tell you, oh, this person was, taken out. This person was the popular YouTube term, deleted, and you just believe it. And there's so many of these things that happen, especially back in the 60s, 70s, even the early 80s, where to me, just hearing about how it happened, how gruesome it was obviously witchcraft. It was obvious to me. Now of course back in those days it was, very secretive, very hidden, right? Because, we're still coming out of very heavy times of, strong families, heavy times of, the civil rights. And yeah, but rock and roll and all these things messed it up. People stopped going to church, stopped taking the kids to church. So yeah, a lot of things went down, and in my opinion, a lot of them were related to witchcraft. That's just especially those that went unsolved. Yeah, definitely. People were involved in it that had to do their sacrifices. That it is what it is, man. You look into it, you find out probably more than you're willing to know. But anyways, I think I'll leave that there for now. We can see that these people have come out of the closet, so to speak. Right? 5 years ago, there was roughly 1 million. I imagine there are more now. That number has probably doubled. Who knows about those that practice it and don't tell, but there you have it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course share it for everyone you know. Might learn something you don't know. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.